Well, Vinnie Lingham is co-founder of CEO of Gyft, and he is a South African tech entrepreneur who is currently living in Silicon Valley in the United States, but he is the head of the Silicon Cape here in South Africa. He's joined us now from Cape Town. We're talking about Bitcoin, Vinnie, and this is something that's been around for around 4 years now. It's considered a cryptocurrency. It's something that could have an immense impact on countries that has unstable currencies. But before we get into that, give us some perspective of how this actually works, and is it based on real money? What's the underlying value based on for Bitcoin?
Evening, Sam. So Bitcoin was designed as a digital currency. Credit cards were never developed for the internet. They were produced 50 years, 60 years ago. So there's no real way of paying online that's safe and secure for both consumers and retailers. And there's a lot of credit card fraud, there's a lot of declines in credit cards, etc. And you're seeing that in every country in the world. They're trying to battle this problem. And so Bitcoin was designed with the notion that this is digital cash, where if you have one of these coins, call it a token, you could exchange it for value with someone selling goods and service over the internet, and it would retain its value, or at least hold some of that value at a transactional level. And that was the goal of Bitcoin from a digital perspective.
Yeah, so that is Bitcoin, and just doing some reading, I mean, it does get quite technical on that front, but it is starting to make inroads. You're seeing it being used more and more in China, for example, and less in the United States. But it's a very volatile currency. From one day to the next, you could be buying a Ferrari and a hamburger only the next day. Perhaps that's a bit of an extreme example, but it does mean a lot of volatility. You have to have the guts to be getting into Bitcoin, but you use it as a payment system for your new company, Gyft. So you're basically banking on its credibility.
Yeah, so we don't take any currency risk as a company. We actually work with third-party processors who, at the point of the transaction, they determine what the market price of a Bitcoin is. Let's say, for example, it's $100 and we're selling a gift card for $100. We would receive $100 in cash from them in exchange for the gift card, and they would then process the Bitcoin from the consumer and guarantee us payment with a deduction of a small fee.
Mm-hmm. What is interesting is that the commentary that has come out about the applicability of this to the unbanked world, to countries where we see unstable currencies. We know in Kenya, for example, recently that Kipachi is being introduced there, that enabling those who use M-Pesa to in fact to use Bitcoin through M-Pesa, and that would mean that foreigners have a cheaper service and cheaper means to send money back home. So it is being used in Africa right now. Run us through some of the other applications we could see of Bitcoin on the continent.
Well, so Kenya is a great example. Actually, if you just take a step back from the continent, I mean, Argentina, the money's been driven into Bitcoin. And as much as Bitcoin has been a volatile currency, the real trigger for Bitcoin's price surge earlier this year was the emerging crisis in Cyprus. And a lot of people put their money into Bitcoins because they felt it was a safer currency for them, and they were able to buy these digital coins. So you saw the price surge from roughly $2 a coin about a year ago to $255. It's now settled at $120. Obviously it's volatile right now, but what we're seeing is the currency, the volatility is really sort of stabilized. The US government's embraced the Bitcoin community and is trying to figure out what the right regulations are for it. And as I think every country should. I think this is a very unique situation. This is as disruptive as the internet is, and it does require some form of regulation. I just hope that governments embrace it and provide smart regulation, as opposed to the fear factor that comes with this new digital currency, which again, it's not owned by anyone, it's peer-to-peer, it's decentralized, and these coins are produced using computing power, and there's a limited number, 21 million, that'll ever be issued. So it's really a very interesting type of phenomenon on the internet.
Yeah, and as you say, as disruptive potentially as the internet was, so that certainly is a bold statement. But you're also in South Africa for a number of reasons, one of them being high-level discussions with the South African Reserve Bank. Tell us about that, what you're hoping to achieve in South Africa.
So I've been in South Africa for the Endeavour Summit, one of them, and the Reserve Bank. There was a conference called the Simodisa Conference, Startup Summit, just for tech entrepreneurs who are trying to give back and help tech entrepreneurs in South Africa reach global markets, there's been some unintended consequences as a result of laws in the past and I think the government's been extremely willing and accommodating to listen to our concerns, and we're trying to work out some solutions in that to make it more easier to conduct business internationally from South Africa.
So we're talking here about exchange controls in South Africa. Potentially they are relooking at that regime.
Yeah, so part of it, exchange controls, obviously IP in South Africa, and how do we, the big concern obviously, and rightly so, is what do we do about taxes? Where does the tax base sit? But that shouldn't prohibit us from doing business internationally as well. So again, I was very, very happy with the outcomes of the conference, the Simudisa Summit, and we were very happy to see government getting involved to try and make sure this is a more seamless process for tech entrepreneurs and around South Africa.